But then you notice the temperatures getting hit again. By Sunday, we're back down in the mid-40s on the back end of that departing system. And after all that rain, maybe a little something else over the weekend as well. Mostly cloudy, a few showers, low 60s today, mid-40s tonight, rain likely, gusty and chilly. Tomorrow, the rain will be mainly in the morning. I think there could be a decent break Friday afternoon, so you may get a chance to get outside, but then there'll be another wave Friday night, Saturday. And Saturday night, as that system departs into early Sunday morning, look at temperatures down around freezing. One of those narrow windows where there may be a brief little departing shot of mixed precipitation early Sunday morning. And then it looks like temperatures recover before we crank up our next round into next week.
4:49, time to cover your world this morning on Sunrise. An explosive impeachment inquiry testimony on Wednesday. Ambassador to the European Union Gordon Sondland appeared to tie President Donald Trump directly to a quid pro quo in Ukraine.
But Republicans were quick to point out the president told him he did not want anything from Ukraine. Alice Barr has more from Washington.
The name Gordon Sondland has come up at every turn in the impeachment inquiry. Now it's his turn.
Do you swear or affirm?
The U.S. ambassador to the European Union delivering bombshell testimony that directly ties President Trump to a pressure campaign in Ukraine.
Was there a quid pro quo? As I testified previously, with regard to the requested White House call and the White House meeting, the answer is yes.
Ambassador Sondland says the quid pro quo pushed by President Trump's personal lawyer, Rudy Giuliani, was this. Ukraine's president would get the White House meeting he wanted if he publicly promised to investigate a company tied to Joe Biden's son and a discredited theory about 2016 election meddling.
Mr. Giuliani was expressing the desires of the President of the United States, and we knew these investigations were important to the President.
Ambassador Sondland denying what other witnesses have described as back-channel diplomacy in Ukraine, saying the Secretary of State, Vice President, and others knew what was happening.
Everyone was in the loop.
And Sondland said he came to believe Ukraine wouldn't get the military aid it needed until it announced the investigations.
2 + 2 = 4 in my mind at that point.
Republicans emphasizing he never heard that directly from the president.
It was a presumption.
And Ukraine did nothing, but still got its aid.
You got all three of them wrong. They get the call, they get the meeting, they get the money. It's not 2 + 2, it's 0 for 3.
Ambassador Sondland acknowledged President Trump told him directly there was no quid pro quo, the president echoing those words.
I want nothing, I want nothing, I want no quid pro quo.
But Sondland's testimony raises the question, did President Trump's words match his actions? Alice Barr, NBC News, Washington.
And today we will hear testimony from Fiona Hill and diplomat David Holmes. You can catch NBC's special report of the hearings once again starting at 9 this morning here on LEX 18.
Almost 4:52, the House Judiciary Committee has approved a bill that legalizes marijuana on the federal level. The bill approved yesterday, it would remove marijuana from Schedule 1 of the Controlled Substances Act. The legislation, which passed 24-10, has a good chance of approval in the full House, where Democrats control the chamber. It is likely, though, to have a tougher battle in the Senate, which is controlled by Republicans.
The grandfather of an Indiana toddler who fell to her death from a cruise ship could face up to 3 years in prison if convicted of his charge of negligent homicide. Salvatore Anello was in a Puerto Rico courtroom yesterday. He was arrested last month in connection with the July 7th incident, which happened while the ship was in port. 18-month-old Chloe Wygand fell more than 100 feet after Anello lifted her up to an open window while the Royal Caribbean ship was docked in San Juan. The family's attorney said Anello thought the window was closed. Anello's next court appearance will be December 17th.
Authorities rescued dozens of migrants who were locked inside a truck traveling through southern Mexico. It happened yesterday. Mexican police and National Guard troops broke a lock on the back of the trailer to let the people out. Local news reports say the migrants tried to break out of the truck because they were struggling to breathe. Authorities say they released some 62 people from the truck. Most of them were from Guatemala. Police detained the truck's driver and one passenger. The migrants were taken to a local immigration facility.
4:53, a Thanksgiving staple has set a record in New York City.
A gigantic green bean casserole has broken the Guinness World Record for the largest serving of the dish, tipping the scales at 1,009 pounds.
Whoa.
And it has finally made the long-suffering side dish the main event. The idea was cooked up by the folks at Green Giant, of course, celebrating the company's harvest in the Valley Float in the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. The casserole will be served to thousands of homebound elderly New Yorkers.
Oh, thank goodness people are actually going to eat it.
That's right.
Okay.
Coming up on 4:54, hockey is notorious for being a vicious sport. I mean, who doesn't love a good hockey fight?
Yes, and we aren't talking about brawls today, though, but for one unlucky referee, they still ended up being in the crossfire of the action. All of this and more coming up next in your trending stories. 4:56, here's a look at some trending stories now. A hawk rescued after it got stuck in the netting at a Topgolf in Orlando, a location I have actually been to.
She's been right there. The
Yes.
red-tailed hawk was rescued by a team from SeaWorld and Orange County Fire Rescue crews. According to Orange County Fire Rescue, the hawk was tangled in a net about 50 feet up at the driving range center on Universal Boulevard in Orlando. 2 people in a platform lift worked to free the raptor. Then a crew on the ground assisted in getting the hawk into a carrier. And none of that excitement happened when you're visited down
sure
there,
didn't.
did it?
No.
A Pittsburgh Penguin celebrates a milestone, but we are not talking hockey.
Yes, this is Mickey, the macaroni penguin, and as you're going to hear, she's excited. The Pittsburgh Zoo celebrated her 35th birthday yesterday. Oh, yes, Mickey, let us hear it. And she's one of the oldest of her kind in the nation. Mickey shares her special day and name with the famous mouse. Zoo workers say Mickey is very sweet and is a grandmother figure to the other penguins. She even babysits for young chicks when their parents need a break. Like many elderly creatures, zoo workers say Mickey moves a bit more slowly.
That's awesome.
She also has cataracts. Otherwise, she is aging gracefully. Man, she's limber.
Oh my goodness, she sure is.
She's so cute.
Oh, she really is. My goodness.
And NHL referees are a tough bunch, always on the move and trying to officiate one of the fastest moving sports in the world.
And then there are the dangers, flying bodies, sticks, and pucks. One NHL referee was in the wrong place at the wrong time last night and got hit in the mouth with a puck. Referee Furman South is in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen. He takes a direct hit from that frozen rubber disc. But fear not, like the players, NHL refs are hardy. A quick fix from the training staff in the form of super glue to his lower lip.
Okay.
And the ref is good to go. Really?
I guess.
That's how they repair it with super
in a
glue?
pinch,
Oh my.
Hey.
All right, 4:58 now. Your top stories coming up next at 5.
Okay, you can get your news anytime on lex18.com.
A reminder that we stream all of our newscasts live on our website. That includes Sunrise. It continues right now. It's just past 5 a.m.
Count on LEX 18 News.
The State Board of Elections set to meet today to certify vote totals from this month's election.
Also, political experts say Senator Mitch McConnell could be a roadblock to a new marijuana bill.
And major moments from another day of public testimony in the impeachment inquiry. A brand new half hour of LEX 18 News at Sunrise starts right now on your Thursday morning.
And we're glad you're with us here Thursday, November 21st. I'm Chris Goodman.
I'm Claire Crouch. Storm Tracker meteorologist Tom Ackerman is here. And hey, it's going to be kind of warm today.
Yeah, I mean, when you consider we didn't get out of the upper 40s yesterday, those clouds, I was hoping we'd get a break for some sunshine in the afternoon.
Yeah.
They just stuck around. So 47, I think, was the high. Today, it's going to be gusty. We will have to dodge a few showers around, but we just might edge our way into the 60s. So that's the welcome news. The bad news is we are on the cusp of what is going to be a very active setup going to the end of the week. That's downtown from our 21C Museum Hotel WeatherBug camera. Nothing really to see this morning as far as that vantage point is concerned. We're in the 30s and 40s, but check out the MAXTRACK. Yes, there are some returns. Now, this is very light stuff, and we've got dry air at the surface, so you may see some sprinkles around. But the better chance for some showers will be, on and off through the day today, but the better chance for just more widespread rain cranks up starting late tonight, tomorrow morning, and then another wave going into the weekend. So yeah, the FUTURETRACK bringing some occasional showers in. They're just kind of falling apart as they work their way in here. Just an unsettled day. If you're going to try to get out and rake leaves today, you want to watch out because it'll be windy, but also we will have some showers to contend with. But yeah, again, the more substantial rain, and there'll be multiple waves of it, gets going later on in your forecast. And it will impact the weekend, especially if you're going to go, say, out to Kroger Field Saturday. We'll get a much more in-depth look at everything that's going on coming up.
Tom, thank you. Clicking over to 5:03 now. The State Board of Elections is set to certify the results from this year's elections later today.
LEX 18's Kristen Edwards has the latest on this story happening today.
Kentucky's Board of Elections is meeting in Frankfort today to certify the election results from November 5th. This will make the wins for Daniel Cameron as Attorney General, Allison Ball as State Treasurer, and 14 others official. It will also solidify Governor-elect Andy Beshear's win over Matt Bevin. On election night, Bevin refused to concede, claiming voting irregularities. A week later, a recanvass further cemented Beshear's win by more than 5,100 votes. The Secretary of State Allison Lundergan Grimes said only one vote changed in the official count, and it was not for Bevin or Beshear. She also said that there was not any vast conspiracy to hurt one candidate or party. After the recanvass, Bevin conceded.
I genuinely want him to be successful. I want this state to be successful.
Today's election certification comes as Beshear puts his transition team in place and prepares for his inauguration on December 10th.
I believe that everybody now can take a breath and we can look forward to the future, and that everybody gets to sit down and decide, what do we want that future to look like?
Today's meeting starts at 10 a.m. Covering the story, Kristen Edwards, LEX 18 News.
And switching now to national politics, 10 of the top Democrats running for president gathered in Atlanta, Georgia last night.
It was the 5th debate of the campaign season for a crowded field that is still growing. NBC's Jay Gray reports from Atlanta with a closer look at last night's showdown.
Hello and welcome.
10 candidates, 2 hours. The early discussion dominated.
Well, first of all, we have a criminal living in the White House.
By Wednesday's explosive testimony from Ambassador Gordon Sondland during impeachment proceedings.
Sadly, we have a president who is not only a pathological liar, he is likely the most corrupt president in the modern history of America.
As the debate continues, the questions are rapid fire.
That what was once called climate change is now a climate crisis.
And diverse.
You describe your campaign, including your plans for Medicare for All, as a political revolution.
There are the debate staples, health care, education, and immigration, but the forum also branches out to include issues of inclusion and equality.
While I do not have the experience of ever having been discriminated against because of the color of my skin, I do have the experience of sometimes feeling like a stranger in my own country.
The frontrunners controlling much of the conversation, while those at the end of the stage.
When Donald Trump was elected, not even sworn in, buddied up to Steve Bannon.
Senator Harris is doing is unfortunately continuing to traffic in lies.
Are looking to make an impact with less than 11 weeks now before the first in the nation Iowa caucus. And with the field growing, former Massachusetts Governor Deval Patrick getting in the race this week, and former New York Mayor Michael Bloomberg hinting at a run. Jay Gray, NBC News, Atlanta.
House Speaker Nancy Pelosi staged a march on Senator Mitch McConnell's office to call for action on gun violence. This was yesterday in Washington. The Speaker of the House was joined by 7 of her fellow lawmakers in the protest. They carried signs supporting 2 bills in particular that have been sitting on the Senate Majority Leader's desk. While McConnell has accused Democrats of only being focused on impeachment, the Speaker does not agree. She delivered a letter calling for immediate action on the House-passed gun bills.
This is a solution that will save lives. While many of the other bills are important, this one, every day it is not passed and signed by the president, lives are lost.
Speaking on the Senate floor yesterday, The Hill reports that Senator McConnell accused House Democrats of holding up the U.S.-Mexico-Canada agreement.
The State Department says it has approved the sale of naval guns and related equipment to India, and a company with ties to Kentucky is involved. The department said yesterday that India would use the Mk-45 gun system as a deterrent to regional threats and to strengthen its homeland defense. The principal contractor would be BAE Systems Land and Armaments, based in Minneapolis, with gun manufacturing in Louisville. The deal is worth more than $1 billion.
5:07 now. Health officials say a hepatitis A outbreak has been traced to blackberries. The berries come from a company that ships to Fresh Time Farmers Market in 11 states, including Kentucky. Officials say that the outbreak began several weeks ago in Nebraska. We're told the Nebraska Health Department, the U.S. Food and Drug Administration, and the CDC are investigating and have confirmed 11 cases. The FDA is urging consumers in 11 states, including Kentucky, not to eat any fresh blackberries bought from Fresh Time between September 9th and 30th. Hep A is a virus that infects the liver and can cause mild flu-like symptoms for several weeks.
5:08 now. It is a pretty big step in the move to legalize cannabis. The House Judiciary Committee approved a bill yesterday that legalizes marijuana on the federal level.
But it may still have to some hurdles to jump when it gets before it gets full approval. Alex Valverde live in our studio now with this story, new on Sunrise.
Chris and Claire, the bill removes marijuana from Schedule 1 of the Controlled Substances Act. Now, it allows states to come up with their own policies and gives them incentives to clear criminal records of people with low-level marijuana offenses. The bill also includes a 5% tax on cannabis products that would provide job training and legal assistance to those affected by the war on drugs. The legislation passed 24-10 and has a high chance of approval in the full House, where Democrats control the chamber. But a tougher battle is expected in the Senate, which is controlled by Republicans. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell opposes marijuana legalization. And right now, 11 states and the District of Columbia have legalized recreational marijuana. Medical marijuana is legal in 33 states and Washington, D.C. Chris and Claire.
Alex, thank you. 5:09 covering your world now on LEX 18 News at Sunrise. It was an explosive marathon day of impeachment hearing testimony from 3 top government officials on Capitol Hill.
This was yesterday ahead of today's scheduled testimony from the White House's former Russia expert Fiona Hill, as well as diplomat David Holmes. Britt Conway has the latest.
Today's testimony is among the most significant evidence to date.
On July 25th, a member of my staff got a question from a Ukraine embassy contact asking what was going on with Ukraine security assistance.
Longtime Pentagon official Laura Cooper revealing for the first time that Ukrainian officials knew as early as the now infamous July 25th phone call that American aid money was being held up. Testifying alongside the Undersecretary of State for Political Affairs, David Hale. This after a full day of explosive and damning testimony from U.S. Ambassador to the European Union, Gordon Sondland.
Was there a quid pro quo? As I testified previously, with regard to the requested White House call and the White House meeting, the answer is yes.
Sondland's testimony directly implicating President Trump, Vice President Pence, Rudy Giuliani, and Secretary of State Mike Pompeo.
Mr. Giuliani demanded that Ukraine make a public statement announcing the investigations of the 2016 election, DNC server, and Burisma.
President Trump offering his take on Wednesday's hearings.
We have no due process. We can't have anything. And yet, not only did we win today, it's over.
I'm Britt Conway reporting.
5:11, Detroit police say one officer is dead, another is hurt after a shooting during a home invasion.
After 4 officers entered the home and cleared the upper level, they were moving down the stairs when the suspect opened fire with a high-powered rifle. 2 of the officers were hit, one wounded in the leg, the other shot in the neck. An 18-year veteran later died from his injury. The suspect was hit by return fire and taken to the hospital where he is being treated. 5:12 now. Ohio State University will hear from victims of Dr. Richard Strauss at today's board meeting.
This comes after requests from a handful of former students who were victims of Strauss. 3 victims who sent requests expressed concern over the state's 2-year statute of limitations for sex abuse crimes, in addition to the fact that the plaintiff's claims have not yet been resolved during ongoing mediation. An investigation found that Strauss sexually abused nearly 200 students over 2 decades while working as a team doctor at the university. Football star Antonio Brown is countersuing the woman who is accusing him of rape and sexual assault.
Brittany Taylor used to train the New England Patriots wide receiver. Brown is suing Taylor for defamation, defamation per se, and tortious interference with multiple advantageous business relationships. He denies all of Taylor's accusations and is demanding judgment against her. He has requested a trial by jury. Brown's attorney said previously that Brown and Taylor had a consensual personal relationship that began in 2018 and sexual acts were consensual. A bank robber in Louisiana managed to make his great escape despite tripping 3 times.
And the man's not so fancy footwork was caught on camera. Take a look. Officials in Shreveport say the suspect robbed the city's Westlaw Federal Credit Union on Tuesday. They say he walked in with a handgun and demanded cash. Oh boy, he attempted to run but tripped a total of 3 times. Despite this, he did get away. The sheriff's office is looking over this surveillance video to try and track him down and his getaway driver.
Can't that bank clear that brush a little bit
right,
better
I
over
know.
there?
Yeah,
I mean,
now he's
come
probably
on.
going to turn around and sue the bank once he's caught. 5:14 now, a huge surprise for a young hockey fan in New York.
Luke was attending the Rangers-Capitals hockey game last night in New York City. He knew he won a jersey in a trivia contest, but what he didn't know is that his father, Army Staff Sergeant Ian Buck, was just back from duty in Afghanistan and that his dad was delivering that jersey in person on national television at Madison Square Garden. Truly one of those golden moments that is bigger than the game and one that will be remembered by father and son forever.
That's awesome, and they pulled it off. I love it when it's successful, those surprises.
Absolutely. 5:14. No surprises here. We've got some nasty weather moving in, but not today, right?
No, I mean, we'll have a few showers around today. The real rain gets cranking later in the week, and it could be more than one round. Well, if we look at the MAXTRACK live Doppler, this is the radar we're running right out of the backyard here at LAX 18. You're seeing some issues as far as what's going on precipitation-wise, because as soon as you pop up the composite, this would be the National Weather Service radar out of Louisville and also Jackson. You can see some of the showers that are showing up overhead and around here. So basically what that means is our radar is not picking it up because it's not showing up at the lower levels. This is moisture aloft, which also means since we've got dry air at the surface, even though it's showing up on the radar there, you may not actually be seeing it getting down to you. It's just indications of moisture on the move. You may see a few sprinkles around this morning, but the better chance for showers and for rain, more widespread rain, is going to be overnight tonight, tomorrow, and then into the weekend. So yeah, you got this little light stuff coming through. Mainly, we're just going to be on the cloudy side this morning, but clearly much more numerous showers off to the west. So, yeah, we've got active weather on the way. Something else that's active, it's something we haven't talked about a whole lot because there hasn't been a whole lot of activity, is the tropics. This is cloud cover. This is enhanced satellite imagery. You can see that telltale swirl of low pressure, a descending cold front down through Houston. But as soon as you pop out in the Atlantic, that is a tropical system. It is Sebastian, a tropical storm. Likely going to strengthen out there, but it's also on a north to northeasterly trajectory, so the steering currents are going to keep this thing out to sea. More notable because this is yet another system. Here is our rain chance over the next few days, spiking. Low end chance today, 30, maybe 40% chance, but then tomorrow and Saturday, it pops. Now, this is not going to be a 24-hour all-out rain, but we will see waves coming in. Just showed you those showers out west. As they track east and get into this slightly less favorable environment, they'll probably fall apart. But, you know, you can't rule out the possibility of some occasional showers around today. But the more widespread, at least initial slug of moisture gets going along this boundary overnight into Friday morning. You notice it's spreading northeast along that front. By Friday afternoon, we very well may have a break in the action and even a little bit of sunshine trying to break through. A lull before we see another wave of low pressure firing up along that old boundary, and the return flow cranks in. And we'll see a warm front, cold front, low combo, all that hitting us Friday morning, or I should say Saturday morning and through the day Saturday, which means we'll have yet another round of rain coming in. Look at that, Friday, and then you'll notice the numbers start to crank again as far as projected rainfall goes through the day Saturday. So by the time it's all said and done, we may have an inch or two of rain to work with over the upcoming weekend. So yeah, there'll be nice breaks in between. Could be good news for Friday night football games, anything else going on, but between those rounds, your breaks are nice, but the rounds themselves, you're going to throw quite a bit of rain our way on and off into the weekend.
You're watching LEX 18 News at Sunrise.
Welcome back at 5:22 on your Thursday morning. Toys are surely on your child's Christmas list this year, but some could be more dangerous than others.
Tori Dunnan shows us what's safe and what you might want to avoid during your holiday shopping.
The holiday season is upon us, and you're likely going to be out shopping for toys for your kids, other family members, or loved ones and friends. There's a lot to consider when it comes to toys and safety for different ages.
I can't sit on that. That's too little.
Jamie Hilfiger and her 2-year-old Victoria are getting an early start on holiday shopping.
I'm always looking for non-toxic toys. My daughter's almost 2 and still like everything goes in the mouth.
Patrick Savoy, the owner of Toy Express, laid it all out for us. He says first and foremost, pay attention to small pieces.
Here are soft blocks. Good alternative to Lego blocks because Legos are very small pieces.
So this is basically because these are sewn on eyes, not like eyes that can pop off.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. Bigger is better for babies and toddlers.
The wheels are small. The rubber can probably, come off as well.
Yeah. Age labels on toys are important too.
We recommend the parents to always look at the age appropriate.
Pay special attention to bath toys.
This is really a mildew or mold issue here as the water gets stuck in there.
So no hole. Look at strangulation hazards like long strings.
So they're always a great alternative to pool toys, which has a cord and can create,
So a popper instead of a pull
yes.
toy. And finally, don't forget about batteries. Make sure the compartment for them has screws on it.
All right, that was Tori Dunnan reporting with some good advice for your holiday shopping. It's 5:23. As much as you might hate being late to work, you are certainly not the only one who slips up every now and again.
We have details on the new survey that looked at how often people were late and their unique excuses. That is coming up next in this morning's Consumer Watch. .26 in this morning's Consumer Watch. PayPal will buy the shopping reward site Honey.
A news release says PayPal will pay $4 billion for the site, which offers online shoppers rewards and discounts. PayPal is facing growing competition from companies like Apple and Google, which now offer ways to pay online. PayPal's acquisition of Honey still needs regulatory approvals, but the company expects it to close in the first quarter of 2020.
And by the way, I was not calling you honey, just so you know. Target says its apparel sales soared more than 10% in the third quarter, driving overall profit margins. It has refreshed stores to make individual brands look more like their own mini boutiques. More mannequins and table displays showing off merchandise. It has launched dozens of in-house apparel brands over the past 3 years. It seems Target's efforts to get back to being known as cheap chic are working.
Yeah, those Target stores are fancy these days. And a survey out this morning finds nearly 3 in 10 workers say they are late to work at least once a month. And True Blue is releasing some laugh out loud actual excuses workers gave for arriving late to work. Among them, I thought it was a holiday because of the solar eclipse. And there is a bear in my trash can and I'm afraid to go outside. I think that's very valid. Career experts say you should get organized, lay everything out before you go to bed. Be honest, own the late arrival, and implement ways to avoid a repeat occurrence.
Yeah, there is a bear that hangs outside my house a lot.
I bet.
Yeah,
Yes.
so one day I might have to be late for that.
Understandable, Chris.
Okay.
Understandable.
Coming up on 528 now on Sunrise.
Your top stories are 2 minutes away, including a statement from the family of a Louisville teen who was allegedly assaulted in a high school bathroom.
Why she believes officials should be taking a more proactive response. That's coming up in our next half hour. That kicks off in 2 minutes here on LEX 18.
Count on LEX 18 News.
A House committee has passed legislation legalizing marijuana. Now the bill must make it through the Senate.
That's right. Plus, overnight crashes across Lexington send several people to the hospital.
And the bombshell testimony by Ambassador Gordon Sondland sends shockwaves rippling through Capitol Hill. The latest on the impeachment hearings coming up. This 5:30 half hour of Sunrise.
Happy Thursday to you. Thank you so much for starting it off with us here on Sunrise. It's November 21st. I'm Claire Crouch.
I'm Chris Goodman. Meteorologist Tom Ackerman here with us for November standards today. I don't think it's going to be too bad.
Yeah.
It's going to be warm.
Try to get into the 60s.
Yeah.
You guys ready for some rain?
No.
Just in time for the weekend? Multiple
The
rounds?
timing.
How exciting is that, right?
Oh.
Yeah, yuck.
Good try, you know.
Well, you gotta try to juice it up somehow, I suppose. And today will be the warmest day that we'll see for a while. And potentially the driest. I mean, we didn't see a whole lot yesterday beyond lingering low clouds and drizzle. So technically, I guess yesterday would be the driest because there will be some showers around today. But if you want to talk wettest, you got to get into overnight tonight, tomorrow morning, and then again heading into the weekend. A couple, at least, waves of what'll be more widespread rain tracking our way. We're in the 30s and 40s now, and there is a little bit of moisture showing up over our heads. On the MAXTRACK, there's just a fairly low chance that it's actually getting down to the ground. Another one of those situations, but don't be surprised. A few sprinkles, a few showers around this morning. You can see more numerous showers out to the west, and it's going to be one of those unsettled days today, but it'll also be pretty breezy and mild in addition to that chance for a few showers around. So hopefully we're at least going to hit around 60. Some of our southern counties may get into the low to even mid 60s around here. I think we'll be on either side of 60 in the bluegrass. We'll talk about those repeated rounds of rain, how it impacts the upcoming weekend, Friday night football games, Saturday out at Kroger Field in your 8-day forecast.
Tom, thank you. It is 5:32, and it's been a contentious few weeks after Governor Matt Bevin refused to concede to his opponent following the November 5th gubernatorial race.
But after a recanvass, Bevin is wishing Governor-elect Andy Beshear luck, and today the State Board of Elections is certifying the results of Beshear's win. LEX 18's Kristen Edwards has the latest on this happening today.
Kentucky's Board of Elections is meeting in Frankfort today to certify the election results from November 5th. This will make the wins official for Daniel Cameron as Attorney General, Allison Ball as State Treasurer, and 14 others. It will also solidify Governor-elect Andy Beshear's win over Matt Bevin. On election night, Bevin refused to concede, claiming voting irregularities.
This is a close race. We are not conceding this race by any stretch.
A week later, a recanvass further cemented Beshear's win by more than 5,100 votes. Secretary of State Allison Lundergan-Grimes said only one vote changed in the official count, and it was not for Bevin or Beshear. She also said that there was not any vast conspiracy to hurt one candidate or party. After the recanvass, Bevin conceded.
I genuinely want him to be successful. I want this state to be successful.
Today's election certification comes as Beshear puts his transition team in place and prepares for his inauguration on December 10th.
I believe that everybody now can take a breath and we can look forward to the future, and that everybody gets to sit down and decide, what do we want that future to look like?
Today's meeting starts at 10 a.m. In Frankfort, Kristen Edwards, LEX 18 News.
5:34 now. It's a turning point in the move to legalize marijuana. The House Judiciary Committee approved a bill yesterday that legalizes the drug on the federal level.
But some are worried there is too much opposition in the Senate to get full approval. Alex Valverde live in our studio now with this story, new on Sunrise.
Chris and Claire, the bill passed 24-10, and the committee believes it has a good chance of approval in the full House, where Democrats control the chamber. The bill removes marijuana from Schedule 1 of the Controlled Substances Act. It allows states to come up with their own policies and gives them incentives to clear criminal records of people with low-level marijuana offenses. But while the committee isn't too worried about the full House, a tougher battle is expected in the Senate, which is controlled by Republicans. One big roadblock could be Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, who opposes marijuana legalization. And the bill also includes a 5% tax on cannabis products that would provide job training and legal assistance to those affected by the war on drugs. Chris and Claire?
Alex Valverde, thank you. It's 5:35 now, and 2 people are in the hospital after a crash involving a motorcycle on North Broadway here in Lexington. It happened at 12th Street just after 9 last night. Police say the motorcycle and a car were headed in opposite directions when they collided. We're told the person on the motorcycle has serious injuries and the car's driver has injuries that appear to be minor. So far, there's no word on what caused that crash.
Another crash in Lexington that sent 2 people to the hospital. This happened about 10:30 last night in front of the Kroger gas station on Tates Creek Center Drive near Man O' War. Police say they found 2 vehicles on the embankment between Man O' War and Tates Creek Center. We're told 2 people in one vehicle had injuries that were not life-threatening and were taken to the hospital. One of the injured had to be cut from the vehicle. No one was hurt in the other vehicle. A portion of the intersection was closed as crews investigated. Traffic is moving again in that area this morning.
The family of a teen allegedly attacked in a bathroom at a Louisville high school is struggling to understand why it happened. Courtney Damron says her brother went into the bathroom last Thursday at Iroquois High School, where he was attacked by 4 other students. Her brother was taken to Norton Children's Hospital, where he will have to have surgery tomorrow to repair his fractured jaw. The Jefferson County Sheriff's Office and Jefferson County Public Schools confirmed to Wave 3 News in Louisville that 4 students are being investigated. Security camera video shows the group of male students going into the restroom and one coming back out to check the halls. There are school resource officers from the sheriff's office working at Iroquois High School, but Damron believes there needs to be more.
I think if they had a couple more security guards or a metro officer like they did when I was there, it could have been prevented or it could have been stopped and he could have been helped before it got to this.
Now, Damon Simmons has pleaded not guilty to an assault charge in connection to this incident. He is due back in court on November 26.
5:37 now. Kentucky has extended its lead heading into the final couple of days of the 32nd annual Big Blue Crush Blood Drive. Kentucky put in another great day of work yesterday with 519 donors making the life-saving donation to grow Kentucky's lead over Medic Regional Blood Center and Tennessee fans. The score stands at 1,705 for Kentucky and 1,143 for Tennessee. The competition between Kentucky and Tennessee helps increase the blood supply needed desperately during the holiday season. A reminder, donors are given a long sleeve shirt, a coupon to McDonald's, and are also entered for a chance to win tickets to the UK and Louisville football game later this month. The drive runs through tomorrow.
And we want to give you another reminder this morning about a great way to help the less fortunate this holiday season. You can give a local family a hot Christmas meal through the Salvation Army's Food Angel program. Just pick up a Food Angel tag from a Central Kentucky Kroger store by December 24th. Your gift will help buy a Christmas dinner for a needy family from right here in Central Kentucky. For more information, just log on to our website, lex18.com. It is 5:38. Let's cover your world this morning on Sunrise. In explosive impeachment inquiry testimony on Wednesday, Ambassador to the European Union Gordon Sondland appeared to tie President Donald Trump directly to a quid pro in Ukraine.
But Republicans were quick to point out the president told him he didn't want anything from Ukraine. Alice Barr has more from Washington.
The name Gordon Sondland has come up at every turn in the impeachment inquiry. Now it's his turn.
Do you swear or affirm?
The U.S. ambassador to the European Union delivering bombshell testimony that directly ties President Trump to a pressure campaign in Ukraine.
Was there a quid pro quo? As I testified previously, with regard to the requested White House call and the White House meeting, the answer is yes.
Ambassador Sondland says the quid pro quo pushed by President Trump's personal lawyer, Rudy Giuliani, was this. Ukraine's president would get the White House meeting he wanted if he publicly promised to investigate a company tied to Joe Biden's son and a discredited theory about 2016 election meddling.
Mr. Giuliani was expressing the desires of the President of the United States, and we knew these investigations were important to the President.
Ambassador Sondland denying what other witnesses have described as back-channel diplomacy in Ukraine, saying the Secretary of State, Vice President, and others knew what was happening.
Everyone was in the loop.
And Sondland said he came to believe Ukraine wouldn't get the military aid it needed until it announced the investigations.
2 + 2 = 4 in my mind at that point.
Republicans emphasizing he never heard that directly from the president.
It was a presumption.
And Ukraine did nothing but still got its aid.
You got all three of them wrong. They get the call, they get the meeting, they get the money. It's not 2 + 2, it's 0 for 3.
Ambassador Sondland acknowledged President Trump told him directly there was no quid pro quo, the president echoing those words.
I want nothing. I want nothing. I want no quid pro quo.
But Sondland's testimony raises the question, did President Trump's words match his actions? Alice Barr, NBC News, Washington.
And coming up later this morning, we will hear testimony from Fiona Hill and diplomat David Holmes. You can catch NBC's special report of the hearings once again starting at 9 this morning right here on LEX 18. 5:41 now. The grandfather of that Indiana toddler who fell to her death from a cruise ship could face up to 3 years in prison if convicted of his charge of negligent homicide. Salvatore Anello was in a Puerto Rico courtroom yesterday. He was arrested last month in connection with the July 7th incident, which happened while the ship was in port. 18-month-old Chloe Wygand fell more than 100 feet after Anello lifted her up to an open window while the Royal Caribbean ship was docked in San Juan. The family's attorney says Anello thought the window was closed. Anello's next court appearance will be on December 17th.
Authorities rescued dozens of migrants who were locked inside a truck traveling through southern Mexico. It happened yesterday. Mexican police and National Guard troops broke a lock on the back of the trailer to let the people out. Local news reports say the migrants tried to break out of the truck because they were struggling to breathe. Authorities say they released some 62 people from the truck. Most of them were from Guatemala. Police detained the truck's driver and one passenger. The migrants were taken to a local immigration facility.
We're getting a look this morning at the challenging rescue of a man who fell down a cliff into a narrow crevice in Arizona. It happened back on November 10th in Coconino County near Flagstaff. You can see one first responder was dropped down into the crack, grabbing the man out of the narrow spot. They were both lifted back into the helicopter safely. 5:43, a Thanksgiving staple has set a record in New York City.
A gigantic green bean casserole has broken the Guinness World Record for the largest serving of the dish, tipping the scales at 1,009 pounds. And it's finally made the long-suffering side dish the main event. The idea was cooked up by the folks at Green Giant, celebrating the company's harvest in the Valley Float in the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. The casserole will be served to thousands of homebound elderly New Yorkers.
I have never had green bean casserole.
I have, and I'm just
not a fan.
No, not
I know
really.
It's one of those things that people eat begrudgingly. It seems like
either you love or you hate it, but unfortunately, I think most people do hate it.
No.
All right, 5:43. Oh no, please! I hope we're not starting another candy corn issue.
Oh, I don't care.
Okay.
I mean, I've never had it.
Friday's Mega Millions jackpot amount $208 million.
And Saturday's Powerball jackpot is $90 million.
Meteorologist Tom Ackerman is straight ahead, tracking a decent day today.
Yes, so just enjoy it because things go downhill from here. He is up next with your full forecast.
Well, we do have some issues today. There will be some showers around, but overall, it's going to be one of the better days that we will see. And that's not saying much, and it's mainly due to the temperature. This is downtown Lexington. So far, there hasn't been much in the way of precipitation, but it's out there. And as we zoom in, we've got a MAXTRACK that doesn't show much showing in the lower levels, but as soon as you pop up the next rad, this is the radar out of Jackson and out of Louisville. You can see higher up, there are some returns showing up. You've got rain out over Louisville, and as well some showers. Time lapse shows them cruising overhead. What's likely happening here is it's showing up aloft, but the dry air at the surface isn't allowing those showers to get down to us as of yet. They're evaporating before they get to us. Some virga, but eventually we will see at least a few showers around, and you may see some sprinkles this morning. The more robust showers, a line of them, and maybe even some rumbles of thunder as we go through the day or out to the west. And we will eventually see our rain chance spike, and it's right where it hurts. We've been talking about this all week, how we're going to see a chance for multiple rounds coming in. Looks like it's going to be an all-day rain. What is probably going to happen is we'll see waves coming through, one late tonight, tomorrow morning. A decent break could be brewing for Friday afternoon, and then more coming in Friday night, Saturday. You've got this trough out west. These are upper-level winds. I'm showing you the cold air aloft, and as that digs in, it sends unsettled weather with it. So this takes you into Friday. That upper low tracks right up into the heart of the Great Lakes. So Friday, Saturday is going to be our best push as all this heads in our direction for unsettled weather. Showers, maybe even some thunder showers tomorrow. Definitely wet weather and definitely unsettled weather. I mean, here's that line of showers I was just showing you. The FUTURETRACK brings it east, and it just kind of falls apart later on today. The actual cold front gets in here tonight. Along that boundary is where we get that more substantial slug of moisture. So a pretty wet night tomorrow morning. It'll wrap up. So this could be good. We may have a nice break into the afternoon, at least early evening Friday, before wave number 2 fires up. That gets going with a wave of low pressure spinning in from the southwest, and you can just see the rain spreading in again as you go through the day Saturday. That's Saturday morning. So through the day as that low runs up towards Ohio, we'll have an increasing chance for rain. Of course, guess what's happening Saturday afternoon, 3:30. The Cats are playing out at Kroger Field. We could, by the time it's all said and done, Saturday night, Sunday morning, wrap this up with about a 1 to 2 inch total rainfall. That's taking into account the multiple rounds that are coming through. So just be aware we've got that wet weather into the weekend. The other point to watch, although I don't think it's going to do much, is Saturday night, Sunday morning. Look at that low down around freezing. Any lingering moisture as that system departs late Saturday night, we may have a brief changeover to a little mixed precipitation. I think it's a pretty low-end chance, but that's something we'll be keeping an eye on through the weekend.
Good morning. Matthew Mitchell will square off tonight against the program that gave him his first head coaching gig nearly 15 years ago. Morehead State will be rolling into Lexington, and that's where he was the head coach from 2005 to 07. The Wildcats are currently ranked 13th in the nation and know the Eagles will come in trying to prove something. Mitchell says that's something they've been used to over the years, having somewhat of a target on their backs.
I think with what we've been able to accomplish over the last decade plus, and the reputation we've been able to build here through the hard work of so many people and great play by so many great players, I think that we are a team that people get excited to play.
The EKU women were back at home looking to bounce back from their first loss of the season. Bria Bass led the Colonels with 17 points and 7 rebounds. Ilya Green added 11 points, but EKU falls 75-57. UK got the signed letter of intent from BJ Boston yesterday, so the UK class is stacked with size and stars. 3 are in the top 18. 4 of the players, Devin Askew, Terrence Clark, BJ Boston, and Isaiah Jackson, are 5 stars. The other 2, Cameron Fletcher and Lance Ware, 4 stars. It's the number 1 class, and Coach Cal may not be finished. He's trying to add the number 2 player in the class, Cade Cunningham. It was the in-state rivalry game last night at the D3 level as Center traveled to Lexington to face Transylvania. Early in the game, the Colonel's Art Walker drains the 3. He finished with 10 points and 6 rebounds. Transy was led by Lucas Gentry, who came off the bench to score 18, and that included hitting 4 3-pointers. After trailing by 11 at the half, Transy came back to lead by 1, but Center's Jacob Bates scored with under a second to play for the game winner, 58-57 Center. Morehead State took its 4-0 record on the road to face Missouri. Jordan Walker led the Eagles with 14 points. He scored most of that early on as MSU stayed with the Tigers for most of the first half. Only trailing by 7 at the break, but Missouri got 21 from Mark Smith on the way to a 70-52 win over the Eagles. Second-ranked Louisville was at home against South Carolina Upstate. The Cardinals actually trailed 42-40 with 14:25 to go in the game, but they went on a 21-2 run that included 4 dunks. Jordan Wara led the way for Louisville with 28 points. Ryan McMahon had 15 as the Cardinals win it 76-50. The Kentucky volleyball team is in a tie for first in the SEC with 3 games to play, and last night a crucial matchup against Missouri. After trailing 5-3 early, Cats go on a 6-0 run. Leah Edmond with the kill. UK would control the rest of the set. Allie Stumler gets a kill. Cats up 5. They'd even throw in an ace. Gabby Curry contributing to that right here in the no man's land. Then game point, Edmond goes for another kill. Missouri can't return it. She led UK with 18 of those. Kentucky goes on to get the sweep 3-0. And tonight at 7, the UK men's soccer team starts its run in the NCAA tournament. The Wildcats will host Loyola Chicago in the Bell, the 6th NCAA trip in Johan Cedergren's 8 years as coach. The Wildcats are 12-4-3 on the year, and a win will advance them to a weekend game at Indiana. Let's look at sports this morning. I'm Keith Farmer. Have a great day.
.557 topping your health watch this morning. A new survey is shedding light on what may be keeping families from living a healthy life.
Researchers surveyed over 1,000 parents, and 65% said at least one socioeconomic factor negatively impacted their family's health. Nearly a third said they were not able to pay at least one of their bills. 30% said they do not have time to worry about their kids' health unless it was an emergency. And when it comes to eating, nearly a quarter were worried about running out of food in the past year.
A new study reveals many cancer patients wish they knew more about the side effects of their treatment. In fact, about 1/3 of patients who underwent either chemotherapy, radiation, or surgery felt uninformed. Fatigue, nerve damage, and GI symptoms were the most common symptoms that were worse than they expected. Despite these findings, 9 in 10 patients felt they made the right treatment decision.
Time now 5:58 with Thanksgiving right around the corner. A question for you. The heaviest turkey on record weighed in at how many pounds?
I don't know.
Well, we've got the answer. You're going to be guessing. I hope
know.
you get it right. We're going to play turkey trivia this morning, coming up at 6:26.
I will be ready. And remember, your top stories are also just ahead, including how Senator Mitch McConnell will play a major role in whether or not a marijuana bill will come to a vote in the Senate. Your top stories are less than 2 minutes away, right here on Sunrise.
Count on LEX 18 News.
Straight ahead at 6, the Kentucky Board of Elections is set to certify the results of the 2019 general election.
Also, the family of a Louisville teenager in search of answers after an attack leaves one with a broken jaw.
And the field of Democratic presidential hopefuls took to the debate stage once again in Atlanta last night. We've got a recap straight ahead. A brand new half hour of LEX 18 News at Sunrise starts right now on your Thursday morning.
Good morning. Glad you're with us. Thursday, November 21st. I'm Chris Goodman.
And I'm Claire Crouch. Storm Tracker meteorologist Tom Ackerman is here on this Thursday morning. And, you know, enjoy today. That's pretty much the best thing we can tell you.
Enjoy every day, right?
That's right. Absolutely.
Like Warren Zevon said, enjoy every sandwich. We've got the possibility of temperatures getting into the 60s. I think that's why Claire and Chris are, mildly excited. There are clearly drawbacks to that, though, because we're going to be fighting a lot of cloud cover and also some showers around. Now, nothing like the more widespread rain that'll crank overnight tomorrow morning and then again into the weekend. So, yeah, more of a nuisance, I think, than anything else. That's our Keeneland Live Weather Bug camera. We've got 40s and 30s, so there's a chill in the air this morning. And if you look at the MAXTRACK, it is showing that we've got a little bit of moisture showing up at least overhead. It's questionable as to whether or not much of that is actually getting down to the surface. Some sprinkles, some light isolated showers around. You can see that moisture on the move, but it's a sign that something's up here as we go into the end of the week. The FUTURETRACK shows our best chance for showers. A few of them will be through the morning into the afternoon, and then we will wait for the main wave, the main of what will be actually multiple waves to get going overnight and into tomorrow morning. So We're going to start the weekend off wet, maybe see a Friday afternoon, evening break, and then another round for your Saturday. So it will be on and off through the weekend, but definitely unsettled weather will be the way we go heading into the weekend. We'll talk about the impact it has on temperatures, see how it plays out in your 8-day forecast here in a few.
All right, Tom, thank you. 6:02, let's get to those top stories. The State Board of Elections is set to certify the results from this year's election later today.
LAX 18's Kristen Edwards has the latest on this happening today.
Kentucky's Board of Elections is meeting in Frankfort today to certify the election results from November 5th. This will make the wins official for Daniel Cameron as Attorney General, Allison Ball as State Treasurer, and 14 others. It will also solidify Governor-elect Andy Beshear's win over Matt Bevin. On election night, Bevin refused to concede, claiming voting irregularities.
This is a close race. We are not conceding this race by any stretch.
A week later, a recanvass further cemented Beshear's win by more than 5,100 votes. Secretary of State Allison Lundergan Grimes said only one vote changed in the official count, and it was not for Bevin or Beshear. She also said that there was not any vast conspiracy to hurt one candidate or party. After the recanvass, Bevin conceded.
I genuinely want him to be successful. I want this state to be successful.
Today's election certification comes as Beshear puts his transition team in place and prepares for his inauguration on December 10th.
I believe that everybody now can take a breath and we can look forward to the future, and that everybody gets to sit down and decide, what do we want that future to look like?
Today's meeting starts at 10 a.m. In Frankfort, Kristen Edwards, LEX 18 News.